Are you a preacher of righteousness or looking to get into preaching? This is the presentation for you. Today we are going to look at props as well as dress and how we should dress and the influence of color on the perception of our audience. This is important. We need to know these things in order to effectively communicate the gospel to save people eternally and forever. So we praise God. Let's get into this presentation, and before I get into it actually, I want to remind you, if you like this video, like, subscribe to this channel, and share, and let others know on how to present the gospel effectively. Let's look at how to present the truth to people. Take a look. We should use audio-visual aids. In the Psalms and Proverbs, we read about how the externals affect the internal. Look at this, Psalm 101 verse 3. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. Why? Because what we see affects how we think. Proverbs 4:20-21 says, My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings. Notice here, what we see, what we hear has an impact on our heart. And so we need to present things in a right manner to have an impact on people's minds. We can reach people's hearts through their senses. We can use PowerPoint presentations with splendid pictures to gain interest. We can use videos and music to capture people's attention. Now, before I forget here, PowerPoint's important. If you see on this slide, I'm using a picture of Arthur White holding up Ellen G. White's family Bible. Huge thing. I'm using pictures in my presentation. I'm using text that can be easily read with bold around them to make the words pop out. That's how you can improve your PowerPoint. You can also use props. If you look at Jeremiah, he used a linen belt. Jeremiah used a yoke. Other prophets like Ezekiel, Isaiah, and the New Testament prophet Agabus also used physical aids to make their messages more impactful. So we can use certain physical aids, objects, to present the message to people. We can incorporate physical aids into our sermons. So, for example, if you're going to preach on the crucifixion of Jesus, you can bring a cross behind you. If you want to preach on some sort of other thing, you can bring some item or some object that will help illustrate the message and make it forceful to people's minds. Ellen G. White, she wrote, The influence of the minister who is careless in his dress is displeasing to God, and the impression made upon his hearers is that he looks upon the work in which he is engaged as no more sacred than common labor. If we go to the pulpit in common clothes, it shows that we have a wrong perception of the sacredness of the message that we present, the important work which we are doing. It is displeasing to God to wear the common dress of every day to stand up in front of God's people and preach the good news. We have to dress appropriately. And this is where I'm going to get into the color of dress and how we should dress. Now, we should dress neatly and professionally when we approach God's people, when we preach in church. But there's also something to be said about color. Take a look at this. She writes, dark or black material is more becoming of a minister in the desk and will make a better impression upon the people than to have his apparel of 2 or 3 different colors. So of course we should dress neatly when we come to the service of God and preach the word. But we also have to think about color. Dark colors are important. Dark colors communicate something to the people. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. We're going to see what certain colors communicate to an audience. So yes, we should dress neatly and appropriately, but color matters. Color psychology. Does it affect how you feel? It really does. Here in this article it says, color is a powerful communication tool and can be used to signal action, influence mood, and even influence physiological reactions. Wow. Certain colors have been associated with physiological changes, including increased blood pressure, increased metabolism, and eye strain. Rachel Goldman, a PhD, she says, it's amazing how colors can truly impact our mood and influence our behavior. So think about it. You and I, we may have the greatest message to present to the world ever, but if our dress says something different, then people will take it differently. Here we have to realize that colors matter. Our clothing, our dress matters. So anytime we get in front of God's people, we should always dress neatly and appropriately for the occasion. We also need to be aware of our colors because we want to make sure that people have a positive reaction to what we have to say. We don't want to wear certain colors that will make people angry or influence people to be angry. We don't want to increase people's blood pressure. You know what I mean? We got to be careful about how we dress. So let's look at what the colors have to say about, well, themselves. What do the colors do? How do the colors influence people? Take a look. Well, on the right, we have one interpretation. There's different interpretations of color. So on the left, I have one side of interpretation. On the right, I have another. Notice black, dark colors. On the right, dramatic, classy, and serious. Gray, business, cold, and distinctive. White, clean, pure, and simple. When I think about preachers back in the day, they'd often wear black or white. They'd wear like a black coat and then white underneath. So if we go back to that slide and take a look at what that's communicating and why that's important, why Ellen White would say dark colors, it makes sense. It says here, black, serious, right? We have a serious message to communicate. Distinctive, gray, distinctive. We have a distinctive message. Yes, even the three angels' messages to share. White, clean, pure, simple. We are to be pure in heart. And obviously neat and clean. So this is what this communicates. When we wear black and white, it's communicating we have a distinct, serious message to share, as well as we're trying to present a clean and pure message to people, as well as present to the world ourselves clean and pure life. Also, if you look at the left side, white can represent purity or harmony. We want people to harmonize with us. Black, power, mystery. We want people to be intrigued and want to be interested in who we are and what we have to say. Sophistication. We want people to take us seriously, like we know what we're talking about. And power, of course, right? We want people to realize that we are people of power because Christ, the powerful one, is in us. And that we have a message that changes hearts and lives. A powerful message. So now you can see why dark colors are important. But imagine this. What if you combine the positives of all the color spectrum? Now, Ellen G. White, she said we shouldn't wear 2 or 3 different colors at the same time, right? So black or white or gray and another color, we shouldn't have like a rainbow of colors on us. But as men, we often wear ties. And back in my earlier days, I used to be against wearing ties. I didn't like them. But I've changed my mind on it. And I want to share with you a little bit about the tie selection I choose as a man. So if you're a man watching this, you want to know, why does Ben wear the ties he does? Well, you're going to find out. So first of all, let's start with this color. This is pink, right? Pink. This is a pink tie. It's still formal and classy. Why would I wear a pink tie sometimes? Well, let's go back to that slide. Pink means soft. It can represent, femininity. It can represent, if it's on that spectrum, right, with orange, it can represent energy, soft, healthy, feminine. It communicates trustworthiness. If you look at, let's say, purple, prosperity, imagination, or focus. Why I would wear pink is because I'd want someone to be warm with me. I would want someone to come into fellowship with me, to have that sort of relational regard. That's when I would wear pink. Because I'd want to get that relationship going. And I want people to trust. What's another color I choose? Well, here's another tie I would wear. This is not about making America great again, okay? This is not about running for political office. But when would I wear blue or red? We'll take a look at the slide again. Well, blue can communicate comfort, loyalty, and security. Blue would be a color I'd wear to share a comforting message, or to gain, again, it would be also trust, to show that I'm a loyal person. Blue, relaxation, right? We want people to be at ease. If I've got a message that's going to be particularly difficult for people to stomach, I might wear blue that day, right? I wear my black suit with a blue tie. Now, there's also red in it. There's energy, passion, determination. All right. It can also represent aggressive, strong, or heavy. So if I'm someone who has a particular, encouraging message to share, and I want people to be excited with me, I would include red in my tie. Now, you can do solid ties. If you want to be really, strict with your color, you can choose solid. This is a nice baby light blue, and a shout out to Pastor Alex for this gift. Thank you. It's a wonderful blue tie, and so if I want to communicate trustworthiness, I'd wear blue. Now, what about this tie? What about this tie? Right? When would I wear this tie? If those who are at my church that I pastor, you'd recognize this tie. I usually wear this tie when I preach on communion days, or when I do service for communion. Okay. Now on the tie, it's black and it has some reddish purple roses on it. Why would I wear this tie? Well, black, it communicates that distinctive message, power, and also communicates mystery. I'm dealing with the communion service, so the Lord's Supper, the emblems, which have a lot of mystery to them, spiritual significance. So I'd wear that tie. Also with the rose flower pattern on it, I like it because it reminds me of the Rose of Sharon, the Lily of the Valleys, Jesus Christ, whom I want to uplift on the communion service day. My last tie I want to highlight today is this one. Now, when would Ben wear a saxophone tie? And shout out to my dad. I think my dad is the one who bought me this long ago when I first got my saxophone. So, the saxophone tie. When would I wear the saxophone tie? Well, it would be a social. I would go and if I'd be playing my saxophone in front of the church, or if I would want to have, if it's a social day where it's sort of outside of church service, I would wear the saxophone tie. It's fun and it's cool. So that's when I would wear that tie. So we have to be appropriate in our dress. For women, this would be different. I can only speak as a man at this point. So our colors communicate something. So let's dress neatly, presentably. Let's not be afraid of using props in different colors when it comes to our tie selection. Let's be careful in how we present our message, and let's do it in the most attractive way possible. I hope and I pray today that this presentation has been enlightening for you. And don't forget, if you like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with your other preacher friends who may very well benefit from the same information that you just benefited from today. May God bless and keep you until we study again.